How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. In the last episode, there was some emotions, a little bit of drama here and there, definitely some injuries on Yuuji's part, and yeah, that's all I remember. I have no idea what's going to happen next here in the story. Apparently something's happening here. Definitely left us off on a fantastic note. I actually had to speed through the entire game again, because I had to exchange my SSD with a new one, because I got a new one, but it didn't work out as planned. So I kind of lost a lot of files and programs when I had to reinstall Windows 10, and some things were transferred over, and everything that was on my hard drives were just fine, but I guess all my app data, which is where Front Wing decides to save their stuff, that was all removed. So when I loaded up the game that was installed on my hard drive, it ran like it was a brand new install, which sucked. Luckily, I had the backup from when I had built my computer or had gotten new parts and had to start fresh. So I used that backup, sped through pretty much everything that we recorded together for Sakaki's stuff, and now we're back here. I'm pretty sure this is where we were at last time. If this is not it, then whoops. But let's continue on. If there's any issues with the recording or my voice or anything like that, it's because everything got reset. I'm gonna have to rebuild, I guess you could say. But anyways, what's that? Just as we're getting close to the dorm, I notice something slightly out of place. It's the sound of multiple engines moving away from the entrance.
なんか車の音したよね。学園長は夏休みでいないはずだし、何なんだろう。
Wait, so you're telling me that a bunch of horny teenagers are here left alone? Amane is the only one here with a motor vehicle of any kind, so it's pretty rare to hear engines running this close to the school. The principal and JB would be the main suspects, but as Michiru pointed out, the former is on vacation, and the latter wouldn't just disappear before I came back. Spurred by a sudden sense of unease, I set off toward the dorm at a run.
ユージ？どうしたのよ急に。
Are those two dents? What the fuck? The instant I open the dorm's front door, Makina comes running up to me. What happened, Makina?
いきなりユミちゃんがマーキナ、落ち着いて何があったか話して。急だったのよさ。ママ姉たちが買い物に出かけてすぐぐらいに車が急に止まって、ほんでユミちゃんはいるかって聞かれて、私が答えないでいたら無理やりにでも中に入るぞって脅してきて。怪我とかなかったの？あんた大丈夫だったの？怪我とかさせられる前にユミちゃんから出てきちゃったのよさ。
Sakaki came out? Makina nods repeatedly.
ユミちゃん、これ以上みんなに迷惑かけられないからって荷物を持ってきて、そのまま車に乗っちゃったのよさ。
So she booked it.
そんな、どこ行くかとか言ってなかった？
This time, the girl slowly shakes her head from side to side.
一言も言わなかったのよさ。みんな黙ったままですごく怖かったの。そっか、よしよし。
Amane hugs the anxious-looking Makina close and begins to lightly stroke her head.
ユージ、どうしたの？顔怖いよ。
Oh, it better be. Michiru looks up at me, uneasiness in her eyes. You went with the voluntary? Or with them voluntarily, excuse me. Is this really what you want, Sakaki? An image of Sakaki's desolate expression on the night she dismissed me floats to the surface of my mind. A message. An electronic chime from my cell phone temporarily interrupts my line of thought. Sakaki. When I read those lines, the face that flashes before my eyes don't belong to Sakaki. It's the face of a woman who once spoke the same words to me over and over again. A woman who never accomplished anything, never broke free. And then a man with an angular face reaching his hands out for me, swinging his fists mercilessly into my face. The memories seem to rise up out of the tiny LCD screen and push their way into the present. That idiot. Closing the cell phone, I snap out the words reflexively.
Yuuji? どうしたの? 何かあったの?
Ignoring their concern, I fire off a question at Makina. Makina, what was the model and color of the cars, and how many were there?
黒のエンチュリーで2台で来てたのよさ。
I see. Nodding, I glance quickly around the room one final time. I'm going. See ya.
ユージ! ちょっとあんたどこ行く気なの?
That's the last thing I want to hear from you, Sakaki. I'm sick of it. I won't hesitate anymore. We've both made mistakes, but I'm not about to let us repeat them. I sprint towards the front gate as fast as I can. Shit. The pair of cars carrying Sakaki already left a minute or two ago. For the moment, I need to get my hands on something I can use to pursue them. But of course, there aren't any cars conveniently lying around with the key in the ignition. Hamane's motorcycle and Sambar are out of the commission too. What do I do? Just as I'm running through various possibilities in my head... Huh? I hear someone humming a cheerful tune, soon followed by a carefree greeting.
Kazami-san, お戻りでしたか?
Sachi's returned, on a bicycle. Judging from the tranquil smile on her face, it seems she missed the earlier commotion entirely. Sachi, that's... Her bike is a medium-sized, modern model with small tires, more than a little out of sync with the maid uniform. Sachi lowers herself to the ground easily with a little whoopsie-daisy, then lowers the kickstand with one smooth movement of her leg. A mini velo. Hey, I wanted to say Velvo or Velcro. I don't know. That really threw me off.
はい、そうです。さすがは風見さん、よくご存知で。
An ivory-colored frame with two cute little wheels on either end. Since the tire diameter is small, it's easy to get it moving quickly. Even knew a few guys in my company with a passion for these things.
ここ最近、ウィーグレから毎日のようにメールが届いてまして、それで思い切って買ってしまった次第です。あ、ウィーグレというのはイギリスの通販サイトなんですが、風見さんご存知でしたか?
Sure, why not? I've heard people say these things are small, but well made. Looks like it's true. With a few quick movements, I inspect the handles, seat, and the quality of the tires. Looks like she might have bought a slightly customized model. The frame seems to have been straightened in places to endure bumpier conditions. This area does have a lot of unsurfaced or poorly maintained roads, very typical of Sachi to account for these things in advance.
直訳すると、Hey サチ、ポンドがボロ安で自転車安いから、フィッシュ&チップス感覚でチャリでも買わないかいとか、そんな感じなんですが。そうそう、そもそもミニベロのベロというのはフランス語で自転車を意味してるんですが。
Well, that's good information. Sachi, you think I could ride this without issues?
はい、もちろんです。整備も万全ですよ。試しに軽く乗ってみますか?
Sounds good. I swing myself onto the mini velo and put my feet on the pedals.
わ、早速乗ってくださるんですか? それは何よりです。今しがた油も差したばかりなので、実に素晴らしい走行性能が確保でき。って、風見さん?
See you later.
ヤッホー! ミハマライダーかっこいい!
Thanks for letting me steal your bike, I guess.
あれ?
Its wheels whistling cheerfully, Sachi's mini velo zips jauntily along the road. This thing's fundamentally designed for riding around town, but fortunately it's capable of reaching a decent speed as well. The cycle computer installed in the center indicates an average velocity of around 35 kilometers per hour. Can't compete with a motorcycle or anything, but it's still excellent performance for the size. This really is going to be tough. That said, I'm up against motor vehicles, and they have a head start. There's a decent amount of traffic since it's summer vacation and all, but they can still leave me in the dust easily enough. I'm not going to get anywhere at this rate. Fortunately, they're traveling on a winding, narrow prefectural road of the sort you'll often find on this type of small peninsula. Country roads present their own opportunities for the experienced rider. With a little skill and luck, it might be possible to catch them even riding a mini velo with a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour. Assuming that the cars are headed for the I can never pronounce that area, the entrance of the toll road 15 kilometers ahead will probably be my last chance to catch them. Any further than that, and a bicycle just won't be enough. Alright. I feel bad for Sachi, but I'm gonna have to treat this thing a little roughly. Leaning heavily to the right, I turn the bicycle onto a farm road that leads to a nearby mountain. The tires crunch through rough pebbles. My whole body's jolted by small impacts. Running up through the frame, Soon I'm surrounded by forest. The trail ahead is one of the more blatant examples of a bad road you're ever likely to see. Still, I push forward without hesitating. Within seconds, leaves and branches are slapping heavily against my face and arms from all sides. I had been prepared for a badly maintained road from the start, but this almost exceeds my expectations. Truly terrible conditions. This region was once used as an army maneuvering ground. Wouldn't surprise me if this thing dates back to those days. The designers clearly weren't interested in ensuring a pleasant or easy ride. It's impossible to avoid catching the tires on the natural holes and rocks that litter the path. I struggle along as best as I can, using the handles and my own weight to avoid the worst obstacles. Still, no matter how skillfully I ride, my speed keeps falling. My feelings of impatience are giving way to outright frustration. God damn it. Even so, this is a definite shortcut. Cutting straight through will get me to my objective much more quickly than following that meandering road around and around. Lowering my head, I pump the pedals as fast as possible, warding off branches with one hand when necessary. The slope of the road begins to grow slightly easier. Eventually, the overhanging trees begin to thin out as well. And suddenly, my field of vision expands dramatically. Seems I've reached the summit of this foothill. The trail's increasingly level underneath me, and it's less of a challenge to move the pedals. Best of all, the practically non-existent road finally changes to something more worthy of the name. Oh shit, we actually see a car. Alright, there you are. I catch a glimpse of two black sedans on the prefectural road stretching out below. Cars like that aren't common around here, and they're exactly as Machina described them. Sakaki has to be in one or the other. Now it's just a question of catching up, I guess. That winding road they're following only continues for another 7 kilometers or so. I've got to somehow get ahead of them and set up an ambush before they get off. Doesn't help that I don't know exactly where they're going. The city's my best guess, but and since they're on this road, I can speculate that they're trying to take the highway, but I have no proof. They take a different route. I'm SOL either way. Huh? At this point, I realize that the cell phone in my breast pocket is vibrating. Amane? 8 missed calls. They must have been startled by that sudden exit. Could always just fill her in later, but I'd feel bad to make them worry too much. I decide to answer the call. That you, Amane? I think you're aware, but I'm sorta in the middle of something. Let's talk later. Sorry about that. I'll get in touch once things have calmed down a little. What? Look, I'm trying to follow the cars in question. Don't really have time to... I see. So that's what this is about. Ah, sorry. That would be a help. Did Sakaki get in touch or something?
残念ながらそうじゃないけど、関係ありそうな話よ。運転しながら話できる？
Not perfectly, but we should be able to hold a conversation. What's this information?
その前に、今どこ走ってるの？
I'm following the Mihama Academy coastline. The cars are heading north on the prefectural road, and I'm taking a shitty mountain road running almost parallel. Bit of a shortcut.
じゃあ、こっちの想像通りかもね。車がどこに向かってるか、ユージはもう掴んでる？
No. I guess they were heading to Tokyo since Sakaki's father is involved. Am I wrong?
やっぱり、榊さんの実家が関係してたのね。だったら当たりかも。あのね、半島の根元のとこ、ちょうど今走ってる先の方に、榊さんとこの会社所有のヘリポートがあるんだけど、ユージも聞いたことなかったっけ？
Come to think of it, I think Sakaki mentioned this before. Apparently it was built more or less for the exclusive use of the company's top brass and their families. Stuck in my mind as a particularly impressive example of late capitalist excess. Yeah, now that you mention it, but I'd heard they weren't using it anymore.
それがね、マキナがさっき調べてくれたんだけど、今日朝からそこで見慣れないヘリが1機ずっと待機してるらしくて。
Of course there is. Seriously?
撮影マニアの集まる掲示板に書いてあったらしいんだけど、いつもはいないはずの背広姿の人たちも周囲をうろうろしてるとかで、妙にピリピリした空気が漂ってるみたい。
I see. Makes sense. I can't do a thing if they ship her out of here in the air. That heliport isn't far from the interchange leading to the highway, maybe 700 or 800 meters. It's entirely plausible given their current position, and it's hard to think the unusual situation there is a coincidence.
ねえ、これ怪しいと思わない？
Forget fishy, it's probably where they're taking her. Alright, I'm going to end the call. Thanks. And it's helpful to know their destination, but that doesn't make this chase any easier. Once she gets on that helicopter, it's game over. I absolutely have to catch up before then somehow. But seriously, this road is the worst. Branches slap against my face, vines catch in my hair, and the rocks randomly lying across the ground are constantly slowing the rotation of my tires. The cars, visible only for brief moments and between gaps in the trees, seem to slowly be pulling away further. My odds of catching up are getting longer. I'm going to need some luck at this point. The mountain road I chose as a shortcut was ideal in terms of distance. At full speed, I might have gotten ahead of them by now. But riding on hilly terrain while pushing my way through thick undergrowth cost me even more time than I expected. Okay, that just sounded weird. I have to take advantage of the time lost when they disembark. It's not like they can just drive the whole car onto the helicopter. At the very least, it'll take them a minute or two to get everyone out of the car and into the chopper. Now that they've pulled ahead, I can only hope that gives me the chance I need to close the gap. Practically tumbling down the descending path branching off the mountain trail, I finally rejoin the prefectural road. The heliport in question is only 400 or 500 meters ahead, but the cars are no longer visible. Can I make it? Ignoring the traffic light ahead, I let my momentum carry me across the intersection, weaving between the cross traffic. My ears ring from a dozen honking horns as I rush directly toward the heliport. A small facility on a sprawling plot of land surrounded by fences comes into view. This has got to be it, if I remember the map correctly. With a powerful squeal from the brakes, I force the bike from its maximum speed to a halt. Damn, too late. Just as I'm rolling up to the fence, the sound of a helicopter rotor fills the air. There are ways to get a chopper back on the ground, but the few that involve it staying in one piece, and none that are available to me right now. And following a car is one thing, but chasing a helicopter on a mini velo would just be absurd. I mean, forget a mini velo. No matter what kind of vehicle you have, keeping up with that thing from the ground is going to be very close to impossible. So much for that plan. I watch as the helicopter slowly rises into the sky and turns its nose to the west. For some reason, the direction of its flight strikes me as a little strange. Wait, they're not going to the city? The helicopter is heading almost directly away from Tokyo. It maintains a course to the west, flying parallel to the Shonen coastline. If I remember correctly, to the west of here, there's... Huh? But as I'm thinking about the helicopter's possible destination... Okay. Completely out of place, Kansai drawl rings out in the dry summer air. What, you talking to me? Compared to Amane's relatively soft Kyoto dialect, he's got a seriously strong accent. Probably from the Kawachi area? I see. In other words, my presence in the middle of the road is obstructing your passage. He's got a dome of hair bleached such a blinding blonde that even Michiru would bow down. And a sharp beak nose that actually works for him somehow. Expensive clothes, too. About the last guy you'd expect to have such a thick drawl. A character redesign might be in order, huh? But that blonde hair isn't the only thing that clashes with the Kansai accent. Once I get a look at the car he's driving, my eyes stop moving entirely. A Gallardi Spider? What's a car like that doing here? Of all the out-of-place things in front of me, this is, without a doubt, the most bizarrely misplaced of all. It's the Lamborghini company's signature model, an extreme luxury sports car in the class of a Ferrari? Ferrari? Whatever. With a sticker price that could buy you a nice chunk of real estate. Wowzers. You don't say.
ビビるやろランボルギーニ乗ってるやつはおってもこんなに乗ってるのはわしぐらいやでちょっと兄ちゃんベタベタ触らんとってんか
Yeah, this thing's about as fast as they come. Seriously hard to believe I'm seeing a car like this in Japan.
まあせやな俺もこうもうちょいそれ相応の場所に行ったらバーッとスピード出すねんけどな日本やと捕まってしまうさかいにな
Anyway, you've seriously got a nice ride here.
なあもう分かったやろわしパーティー行かなあかんねんはよどいてくれんと時間に間に合わん
Leaning in close to the man's beak nose, I speak in a very deliberate tone of voice. A very nice ride. Haha. It is our time to use this vehicle. In inverse proportion to the man's fading shriek, the needle on the speedometer soars steadily upward. Amazing! It's my first time actually riding in one of these things. Acceleration's powerful enough to make my whole body tremble. If this was a carefree joyride, I'd be perfectly content to tear around all day in this thing. This is a truly magnificent car.
せやから言ってたやろ何もしたと思っとんねん
It's impossible to hold a conversation unless we quite literally scream at each other. From what my new friend tells me, the car itself hasn't been remodeled in any way. It still roars as loudly as any hot rod I've ever seen. Absolutely not the sort of car you should be shipping to Japan of all places.
おースピード出しすぎやろ兄ちゃんスピード見てな頼む
Puttering around town doing the speed limit in a monster like this would be disrespectful, don't you think? As the man's pressed back into his seat by the G-force, his attempt at speech slurs incoherently into a high-pitched little shriek. In the sky ahead, the helicopter continues its calm journey west along the coast. Maybe the wind's a little rough today. For whatever reason, it's flying at a pretty relaxed pace. Hasn't been getting too far ahead of us. Of course, that'd still be completely impossible without this absolute beast of a car. But...
なあ兄ちゃんさっきも言うたけどもやんな車は貸してるさかいちゃんと時間になったら返してやパーティー遅れたらめっちゃ怒られるねお土産の七面鳥も持ってかんと
I see. Wouldn't do to show up late to a party, I suppose.
せいやだからそのどこに向かっとるんかだけでも教えてくれへんか
Sure. There's a small corporate airport not far from here.
空港
owned and operated by East Beach Transport, a company under the East Beach Railways Group umbrella. It's mainly used for in-company freight planes carrying parts and equipment from overseas. But every once in a great while, a private jet does fly out of there, and the helicopter carrying Sakaki is headed straight for it. You understand where I'm going with this?
はあ、わかるわけないっていうか、榊って一体誰や？
Once that airplane takes off, it's going to become very close to impossible for me to help Sakaki. I'd probably ship her off to some foreign school if I was in his shoes. There's always a risk of information leaking if you hide her in Japan, but that risk gets a lot smaller overseas.
だからそんな裏事情はどうでもええねん。あとどんくらい借りるのか、それだけ答えてくれたらええんやって。
Right, sorry. We should be there in less than 20 minutes at this pace. Just tough it out for a while.
ほんまやろうな。マジ勘弁してや。
The helicopter seems to have increased its speed ever so slightly. It's very gradual, but I think they're starting to increase the distance between us. I'm going to pick up the pace a little.
まだ上げるの？嘘やろ！ちょっともう！
Don't talk, you'll bite your tongue. The instant we turn onto a straight stretch of road, I press the gas pedal to the floor. What a lovely sound.
はい、はい、ありがとうございます。先生のご紹介でしたら、私としても安心でして。はい、娘も本格的に英語を学びたいと前々から言っておりましたので。もちろんです。門間さんの件も含めまして、近々そちらにもお伺いしようかと思っておりまして。はい、そちら方面についてもどうぞご期待くださいませ。はい、ではこれにて失礼いたします。入りなさい。
失礼します。
状況はどうだ？
今ヘリで空港へ向かっております。順調に行けば明日早朝にもアメリカへ到着する予定です。
Well, they're definitely trying to get her out of Japan.
順調に行けばでは困る。万全を期したまえ。
はい、失礼いたしました。
例の軍人崩れのガキはどうした？
由美子様をお連れする時も姿は一切見えませんでした。
Yep, my bad.
油断はしないようにな。
はい、わかりました。失礼いたします。
海外にでも運んでしまえば、そうそう変な虫もつかんだろうさ。榊家のためにもおとなしくしていてもらうぞ、由美子。
The scenery flies past at astonishing speed. There's a bit more traffic now, but the oncoming cars flinch in terror the instant they see us approaching. They pull over to the shoulder one by one as we roar forward down the road. Still can't catch them. Most of my concentration is focused on manipulating the steering wheel, but every few seconds I glance over at the helicopter from the corner of my eye. It hasn't really picked up speed, but the terms of this race simply weren't fair to begin with. They're flying a direct course through the sky with no obstacles or signs to worry about, completely different from chugging along on a public road, no matter how nice your car might be. My friend's voice has by now lost almost all of his initial vigor, but he keeps up a constant stream of questions about the time. Seems he's really worried about that party of his. Okay, one more turn. It's a straight shot after this. The car drifts into the intersection, tires squealing as the rear swings out to the side. A small sign for the airport flashes past in the fraction of a second before we speed off again. Another 3 kilometers to go. I've got to beat them there and find a way to intercept their cargo. For now, I simply tear down the road running parallel to the coast at full speed. The entrance to the airport comes into view, then a small control tower, and a number of nondescript cargo aircraft. Among them, there's a single plane that's conspicuously different from the others. It's a smaller craft with stripes in the East Beach Express red and blue on its flank, as to be a passenger jet belonging to the company. And just as its side, The helicopter we've been chasing all this time has already landed. Shit, too late again? As the crow flies, it's only 300 meters away. Close enough that I can actually see the small group of people boarding the jet. I grope desperately for some sort of solution, but even if I ram my way into the airport, there's not much I can do that they're fully embarked. Frustrating as it is to admit, I'm out of ideas. The jet begins to taxi for takeoff practically the instant the door shuts behind the last passenger. So much for my wishful thinking about a multi-hour delay.
もう空港着いたやろ。もうそろそろ勘弁してや。なあ、俺七面鳥叩けなあかんってさっきも言うたやろ。
How's with this guy and his damn turkey? Sorry, but I don't have the time to chat about your bird right now. Bird? The instant the word leaves my mouth, something occurs to me. Oh my god, this is the scene. I didn't think. I completely forgot about it. So the the r/Grisaia Discord has a profile picture, and it's been this profile picture pretty much ever since I joined. It is of a turkey. There's a hand on a turkey. I think we're about to see something pretty amazing here, guys. Hey,
何よ。
I've got a question. That turkey of yours, is it frozen?
そんなこと聞いて何になるっちゅうね。今そんなこと答えても。
Hurry.
冷凍です。保冷剤も詰めてまして、まだこっちこっちの状態やと。
I see. A wise choice. Hopping out of the driver's seat, I walk over to the passenger side of the car and lightly grab hold of the man's shoulder. You're on the wheel, alright? Just do exactly what I tell you.
おいだゆこちゃん、空港まで着けばええって言っとったんに。これ以上何せっちゅうね。
This time I lean down and blow to his ear. Hurry up!
お父様よりお聞きかとは思いますが、このまま冬季はアメリカに向かいます。
アメリカ？
はい。お聞きではありませんでしたか？
なるほど。厄介払いにはちょうど良さそうな場所ね。
後ほど資料をご用意いたします。お疲れでしょうし、お休みになられた後にでもお目を通していただければと。
わかりました。
Oh shit. Car smashes through the thin fence separating the airport from the public road with a satisfying crunch. Aiming for the runway where the jet's already in position for takeoff, we charge forward at maximum speed.
もうどないしょ。フロント直さんとあかんよな。この間ぶつけて直してもらったばっかりやのに。
Fender bender? Come on, dude. Alright, line her up just right beside that jet. After that, just hold steady and keep the accelerator to the floor. While shouting instructions to my good friend, I retrieve a large, flashy box from the back seat.
ちょっと何すんねんな。それ俺の七面鳥やで。なあ。
A passenger jet takes off at around 285 kilometers per hour. We should just barely be able to catch up in this thing.
おい、ちょっと話聞けや。聞いてくれません。
We can make it if you keep that pedal all the way down. I'm counting on you.
何すんの？
I take out the enormous lump of bird flesh from its bed of cold gel packs and hold it high into the air like a championship trophy. Oh my god. This wind pressure. Honestly, he shouldn't even be able to do this. We're traveling at the speed sufficient to lift an airplane into the sky. The moment I stand up from behind the windshield, the air rushing past shakes my body violently. Somehow holding myself steady, I dig my fingers into the turkey and move my hands slightly forward. It's an absurd plan, and I don't have a chance to rehearse. I can only hope I get the timing and angle of release correct. Still, I've got no choice but to try. Hey, can't you get this thing going any faster?
むっちゃいいよな、もう無理やって。それより俺の鳥どうすんねや。
It won't be possible to catch up if the plane hits V1 speed. We've got to make it before then. Alright. Good, keep going like this. The car slips out from under the engine and begins to push slightly ahead. Carefully watching the distance, I wait for the right moment. Another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, now! Throwing both arms up with all my might, I fling the cold lump into the air and let the wind carry it back. The turkey soars majestically into the sky and then instantly captured by the powerful suction of the intake curves toward the engine.
何の音だ。バードストライクです。エンジンに鳥を巻き込んだようです。
Well, yeah, he's not wrong.
なんだと？止めないのか？無理です。急停止します。早く原因を調べろ。代わりに飛べる機の手配を急げ。はい。何か外で異変が起こったかもしれん。停止したらすぐに調べるんだ。わかりました。よし、行け。はい。どうした？
何かあったの？
大丈夫です。様子を見てまいりますので、こちらにてお待ちください。おい、今行くぞ。何があった？
何なの？一体何が？
She's sitting at the very back of the 20-seat cabin, crouching as if to hide herself. Her frightened expression changes to one of stunned astonishment the moment our eyes meet. Yo. I speak in the same casual tone I always use to greet her in the classroom.
どうして？あなたにこれ以上迷惑をかけたくないから。だから。
Before Sakaki can continue, excuse me, I snap open my cell phone and show her the screen.
これって私の送った。
Yeah. She probably intended it to be her goodbye. But instead, those words brought me here. Again with the I'm sorry, huh? I told you not to say that anymore, didn't I? Sakaki's bewildered expression crumples. All of a sudden, she's on the verge of breaking down.
だって私、あなたに本当に迷惑ばかりかけて。だから、謝らなきゃって思って。あなただけじゃない。寮の他の子にも、今まで私に関わってきて親切にしてくれた人にも、みんな。
Little by little, her eyes fill with tears. Her voice quavers as she wipes them away with her hands. In that case, keep going until you can repay them properly. Nobody wants your apologies, alright? Try gratitude instead.
感謝で。
That's right. With a nod to Sakaki, I slowly move my hand off the seat and extend it forward. Once, when I was at absolute rock bottom, my master reached out a hand to me. And now, imitating her as best as I can, I reach out to Sakaki.
風見くん。
Sakaki observes my outstretched hand uncertainly. With eyes still full of hesitation, she looks up to me. You're right here, Sakaki Yumiko. I can see you just fine. Come with me. For years, she's refused to acknowledge the girl in the mirror as anything but a character in a play. Shrinking back from the world, she lost her place in it entirely. And so I begin with a simple affirmation of her existence. I'll get you out of here. I'll hold you up until you can walk. And I'll speak until you can find your voice. Don't dance on anyone's strings. You can live your life however you want. I came here to show you how.
逃げるの？
Not quite. I want us to search for an answer.
探す？
Sakaki Yumiko is a daughter of the Sakaki family. She's also first and foremost a human being. In the course of a life filled with painful events completely beyond her control, she very nearly lost sight of that. But it's an absolute fact. Right now, this girl's lost the ability to live on her own terms. So until she can find her answer, I'll just have to keep her safe. Now that I've made that decision, I'm not going to back down, no matter what comes next, even if my own country comes after me. Let's go, Yumiko. Sakaki reacts strongly to that word. I haven't used her name since the day we reached our first worry truce. Today I'm breaking that seal. It's the clearest way I have to demonstrate how I see her now. Come on, Yumiko. I bring my hand still closer. I think she understands. I'm not talking to the daughter of a railroad tycoon or an antisocial problem child. I'm talking to a fellow human being. And because she understands, her face grows all the more uncertain. A part of her is questioning whether she deserves this. Yumiko. Instead of saying it's alright, I call out her name and push my hand forward. Sakaki's breath catches in her throat. She moves her mouth slightly without producing a sound, as if to practice. And then somewhat hesitantly, she speaks.
いいの本当に
Yes.
分かった
Yumiko nods and takes my hand. At first it's a gentle, hesitant touch, but soon her grip grows firm. I clasp her hand tightly in return and draw her up out of her seat, There'll be others coming soon. We need to hurry. Leading her by the hand, I exit the plane by the escape chute. A quick glance around suggests no one's pursuing us yet. Still, I leave it a run, pulling Yumiko along behind me. It's the first time I've ever really held the girl's hand. I feel slender in mine, surprisingly small. From now on, I'll have to lead Yumiko safely forward, shielding her from danger. It's a serious responsibility. I knew that from the start, but right now it feels terribly real. Having someone to protect really weighs you down, Asako. Was it like this for my master when she pulled me along all those years ago? Right now, Yumiko's small hand feels unbelievably heavy. Can a piece of trash like me really carry this kind of weight? I can feel doubt oozing out of me like sweat. That's no good. It'll only make Yumiko uneasy if I start brooding. Shaking my head a little, I resettle my hand around hers. A tight grip, so that it can't slip away. Beyond the quickly parting clouds, I can see the sky gradually turning to red. Night will be here before long. A field of white stretches out endlessly before me. It's such a pure and brilliant light that it seems like my fingers will melt away if I reach out to touch it. But that's not really an option in the first place. My body feels like it's buried under layers of mud. Even the slightest movement is frustratingly difficult. It takes all my effort just to lift my hand a fraction of an inch. Who's there? I can hear a voice at my ear. Now, maybe it's coming from inside my ear itself. I can't even tell. It's a woman's voice, not particularly gentle, but very familiar. Is she speaking a name? Telling me something? I want to know, but the words fade in and out, audibility, slippery, and evasive. My hand finally moves. I grope around my chest, trying to grab hold of the voice. Speak more clearly. I want to hear what that voice is trying to tell me. I want to know where this strange nostalgia is coming from. But soon enough I find my hand mired in the mud once more. Maybe it was wrong of me to try in the first place. Maybe I don't deserve to hear those words.
Oi, Nii-chan!
Huh? A shout from overhead breaks forcibly into the dream. The field of white in front of me gradually takes on shades of blue. I try to move my hand to shield my eyes from a dazzling spot of light, but there's something soft on top of my body that gets in the way. What is this? As I pull the lump of cloth off me and examine it through bleary eyes, the man standing over me takes the cigarette from his mouth and answers in a slightly exasperated tone of voice.
毛布だよ、毛布。兄ちゃん、このクソ寒いのに半袖で寝てただろ。それで、半端のおばちゃんが持ってきてくれたんだよ。
I see. It is a bit chilly, I guess. The sun's certainly bright enough, but the air is far from warm. My sleep-fogged mind takes a few seconds to recall the date and my current situation. It's November. Having lost my previous occupation several months ago, I'm lying on the ground outside of my new workplace, apparently at the end of a brief nap. We had a time skip. Just a wicked time skip. Holy shit. Like, they don't even, like, kind of gradually move you into it. It's like, alright, here's the next scene, and now it's November. It's no longer the summer. Holy shit.
もう昼休み終わっぞ。ぼちぼち準備した方がいいんじゃねえのか。
Right. My apologies. The worker stubs out his cigarette in an ashtray nearby and smiles wryly down at me.
兄ちゃん、 お前若いのに俺の親父みたいな喋り方するな。
That effect? I'm not really doing it on purpose.
だとしたら前の職場なり学校なりがえれえ厳しいところだったんだな。親父さん、教師でもやってたのか？
No, nothing like that. But the person who raised me was a little unique.
じゃあそっちだな。まあこういう職場なんだしよ。もっと気楽にやれやな。
Thumping a hand onto my shoulder, the man shakes me back and forth in what's presumably intended to be a friendly gesture. Right. My apologies.
言ってるそばからこれだよ。一気に始まるぞ。俺行こう。
Yeah. I grab the helmet lying at my side and head for the site at a jog. The sun, already falling lower in the sky, gently warms my back. Yeah, this is November, alright. They really kind of just threw us in here. In television dramas and such, fugitives on the run from something or other often head straight for the sleepiest stretch of countryside they can find. The basic idea is that less people means less opportunities for someone to see you, but 9 times out of 10, that's a downright terrible strategy. An outsider suddenly showing up in a tiny, close-knit community stands out like a proverbial sore thumb, As anyone who's read a decently plotted mystery novel can tell you, hide a leaf among leaves and a corpse among corpses. And when you're looking for a place with a high population that offers convenient opportunities for under-the-table employment, the whatever the fuck area is the obvious choice. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that for the life of me. There's some words I cannot comprehend, or I can comprehend, I just can't pronounce. When you're hiding a person, do it among people. That's one lesson I learned, not from my master, but through painful personal experience. The day's work finished up right on schedule. I walk the road home at a steady pace, a bag of deep-fried food from one of my new coworkers dangling from one hand. This town, about an hour by train from the heart of Tokyo, used to be one of the old-school red-light districts back in the day. Even now that it's been cleaned up, the atmosphere's still a little on the seedy side. Anybody would get lost on their first trip through the warren of narrow streets and tangled alleyways. Not the most convenient town to lead a normal life in, but right now it's exactly what we need. Nothing seems off today either. With small movements of my eyes, I observe the appearances and behavior of the people around me. Apart from checking for possible surveillance personnel, I'm looking for changes in the neighborhood shops and restaurants. Anything even slightly different from yesterday warrants careful scrutiny. Although it's pure habit by now, this still involves a good deal of mental focus and emotional strain. Honestly, pretty rough when I'm coming home physically exhausted from a long day of manual labor. Still, letting down my guard isn't an option. We're tucked away pretty discreetly here, but there are definitely people looking for us, and a single coincidence could completely overturn the status quo. Quietly repeating that fact to myself, I take yet another look around. I overlap my memorized image from yesterday with the street before my eyes and compare the two carefully. About 15 minutes walking distance from the station, I slip through a pair of alleyways, then enter a small apartment building. There are more straightforward routes home, but I've been deliberately taking a tangled path to make life a little harder for anyone who tries to follow. After a slow, watchful climb up the stairs, I unlock the door marked 203 and enter the room. Well, this is a nice little apartment here. I'm back, all quiet today as well. When I open the door, I'm immediately greeted by a relieved face.
ええ、今日も何もなかったわ。
Confirming that Yumiko's present and well, I finally allow myself to relax a little. Alright, good to hear. Taking off my shoes, I hand over the sack with the fried food. Got another present from Sawai-san. Could you get out the plates?
いつもの人ね。こっちは何も返せないのに、なんだか悪いわ。
Well, as far as they know, I'm living alone, and I don't eat that much at lunch. Guess they're a little worried about my diet.
親切な人が多いのね。あなたの職場には。
They're a little on the rough side, but yeah, you aren't wrong. After leaving my bag on the floor, I head for the kitchen area. I'll warm it up and throw something together.
ええ、わかったわ。
Well, she's happy. The cold water falling onto my hands feels like a sign of the changing seasons. Autumn may linger a while longer by the calendar, but soon it'll be winter in all but name. That you, Amane? Yeah, I got Sakaki out of there. Sorry about the hassle. I'll be getting in touch again at some point, but I had Sakaki throw her cell away. Keep in mind we won't be able to answer calls from your end for the moment. Also, tell Sachi I'm sorry about the bike. I'll compensate her as soon as I get the chance. Alright, hanging up now.
Suo-san.
Yeah, the others made some real contributions to the rescue operation.
そう。また私、みんなに。
This isn't the time to be feeling guilty. For the moment, let's just focus on getting ourselves somewhere where they can't track us down.
当てはあるの？
I've made some preparations for a rainy day scenario. We'll stop by there first. Still pulling Yumiko along, I looked over to meet her eyes. Don't worry, it's gonna be alright. Trust me. She answered while squeezing my hand powerfully in hers. She was happy there, alright.
連れ去られましたで済む問題か。ヘリや飛行機まで飛ばしながらこのざまとは、お前たちは寝ながら警護していたのか。
Haha, fuck you.
申し訳ございません。あの男がまさかあんな想定外の行動に出るとは思わず。
We're very sorry, sir. We didn't exactly expect him to show up in a very fast car with a blonde man who had a turkey with him. And then he was able to just very so carefully and correctly throw the turkey into the plane and fucked up the engine and then beat us up. Had no idea that this would ever happen. I actually don't know where I'm trying to get with this mocking deal. Like, there's no way anyone could have ever expected something as weird as that.
その想定外に備えるのがお前たちの仕事だろうが。もういい。さっさと探しに行け。死ぬ気で行け。はい。一体どうなっとるんだ。あなたたちの組織は。
申し訳ございません。当該の件につきましては、現在こちらも全力で対応に当たっております。
さっさと捕まえて殺したりなんなりしろ。ことが大きくならないうちに早急に解決させるんだ。
一つ質問があるのですが、よろしいでしょうか。
なんだね。
どうして警察に通報なさらないのでしょうか。これは誘拐事件です。社長なら言うまでもなく警察関係者とのパイプもございます。
Because he cares about his family name, the business, company, money, all that great shit.
早期解決を目指すとのことでしたら、私どもの組織や独自ルートに頼らずとも、その方が。
無理だと知っていて言っているのか。
いえ、私には分かりかねます。
今は会社にとっても私にとっても大切な時期だ。警察沙汰になれば必ずどこかから話は漏れる。メディアは報道管制で抑えられても妙な噂は立つだろう。そんなことになっては困るのだよ。ともかく警察沙汰にだけはできないんだ。そんなことを言う暇があったら少しでも早く解決する方法を考えたまえ。
Now listen here, fucko. She wasn't lecturing you, she was asking a question and suggesting something. Jesus Christ.
しかし、
そもそもこれはあなたの部下がやらかした事件だろう。内部で処理するのが筋だろうが。
わかりました。最善を尽くします。
努力はせんでいい。必要なのは結果だけだ。
Huh, good luck with that one.
はい。
Our very modest dinner for the day consists of the deep-fried food I brought home from work, with sides of boiled spinach and miso soup. We do have some savings from my rainy day fund, but we can't dip into it carelessly with such an uncertain future ahead of us. Our diet's gotten pretty plain as a result. Not that Yumiko's ever breathed a word of complaint. Then again, she was always scarfing down junk food when we were in the dorm, so I guess she's not the pickiest of eaters.
これがイカフライね。初めて食べるわ。
I can tell. I do seem to remember Makina telling me something about Yumiko's calamari history, or lack thereof. But I have to say, this is the first time I've seen someone examine a piece of fried squid quite this intently.
食べたことがないって言ったら寮でバカにされたのよ。
Well, congratulations on losing your fried squid virginity.
イリスさんみたいなことを言わないでちょうだい。
After those words leave Yumiko's mouth, a slightly lonely expression flits across her face.
またあの制服を着る時は来るのかしら。
Since our arrival here, those flashy school uniforms have naturally remained shut up inside our dressers. Unless we manage to get back to Mihama Academy someday, I suppose that's where they're gonna stay. Do you want to?
そうね。似合ってるって言ってもらえた服だし。
If I hadn't rescued Yumiko, she would have been shipped off to some school overseas. Our old life would have disappeared whether I took action or not. There's nothing to regret.
どうしたの、風見くん。
It's nothing. Although I'd made some preparations for an emergency beforehand, this escape plan was still extremely reckless and dangerous. I acted boldly, assuming that the Sakaki family's circumstances would prevent them from turning this into a manhunt. Still, depending on their approach to the situation, we might have ended up being caught within hours. But I couldn't bring myself to just desert Yumiko, whatever the risk, excuse me. I couldn't just let her disappear and leave me with nothing but words of apology. I wanted to do something for her. Then again, that probably wasn't the only reason. I wanted to protect Yumiko. That was the single largest motive. But there was something else to it as well, something more selfish. The women I get close to always seem to disappear. At some point, I'd grown afraid of that chain of loss, convinced myself it was a curse, a punishment of some sort. The more I started to care about Yumiko, the more I wondered if she'd follow the same pattern. And then they tried to take her away from me.
風見くん。
Yumiko tries to speak, her voice soft but hesitates. Reading the atmosphere, I answer before she can continue. Were you about to apologize again, Yumiko? It looks like I hit the bullseye. She lowers her eyes from mine awkwardly. Thought I told you to cut it out with that.
でも私のせいで風見くんに迷惑をかけたし、今もこうして気を使わせてる。
Yumiko. I interrupt her halfway through a sentence with a slightly forcible tone. I decided to protect you, and you decided to come with me. There's nothing to be ashamed of and nothing to apologize for.
風見くん。
Look, Yumiko, you're finally your own person now. So for the moment, why not think about yourself? I'd imagine you've got a pretty decent backlog to work through on that front.
そうよね。
Yumiko nods firmly. Probably came off as pretty pompous there, but those words were directed at myself as much as her. What's driving me forward right now? It's absolutely true that I want to protect Yumiko and do what's best for her, and underneath those clear feelings there's a number of hazier emotions I don't quite understand myself. When I took her out of that plane, I told her we'd search for an answer. I thought it was the word Yumiko needed to hear most of after all those years lost in the fog, but I'm starting to think that applies just as much to me. Here, Yumiko, eat that one too. I can't allow my uncertainty to make Yumiko uneasy as well. For the moment, I'm going to try and keep the pensive reveries to a minimum. Well, yeehaw! Alright, we're gonna end it there because it's been an hour. My throat hurts. And, man, we went through a lot of story. This was a damn good episode. Holy shit. Not really a fan of time skips, but this one is understandable because it's all a part of the story. It's how it's gotta go. I'm pretty sure there was something very similar with how Machina's route went, because they had to be on the run. That one seemed a lot more sloppy. I don't know if there was a time skip involved, but it seemed very sloppy. So to see that Yuuji has a plan and is taking some good action makes me really happy and excited to see where the rest of the story goes. I want to say that we're somewhere in the end game of this route. I could be wrong, but things are getting interesting, and if I remember correctly, I've not rewatched the anime. I do plan on it. I'm pretty sure this is drastically different from the anime, and if that is the case, then I'm glad, because we're getting some good story with Sakaki. I'm beginning to understand why people see her as a fun character. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you for 5,400 subscribers. I'll do another episode at 5,450, and then another at 5,500, and we'll continue on until I can finally finish up this route. Maybe I'll touch Michiru's route after that. But anyways, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you all next time. Take it easy.